You can look at it as I suppose, as a leg spinner looking at it, I go, it's the perfect leg break. It's what you dream about as a leg spinner, to bowl that all the time. It just shows you it doesn't happen all the time. It's not easy to do. Well, it's a Pineapple Collins. We've gone through all the rest so far that we've done today. And the only reason I give this one to Mr. Gatting is because if the ball had been a pineapple, he would not have missed it. He would have eaten it. So thanks, Gat. Thank you for missing it. I'm glad it wasn't a Pineapple Collins. But look, it was, for any Australian or English player, playing in an Ashes is it defines your career, what you do in the Ashes cricket. So for me to play in a successful era of Australian cricket team, where I think I played 8 or 9 series, we lost 1 in 2005, was pretty amazing. We dominated England. It's not you don't try in all the other ones, of course you do, but there's just something extra about an Ashes. And we talked about the Masters, about capturing everyone's imagination. The Ashes captures everyone's imagination. But going back to '93, my first ever Ashes series, I remember watching growing up Jeff Thompson, Dennis Lillee, Ian Chappell, all these guys, John Snow, Boycott, Botham, all these guys for England and Australia. And then in '89, I went over and played league cricket in Bristol. And I watched Australia regain the Ashes and win a clean sweep. And watching Merv steam in and watching it give it to the Poms, it was like, oh, I hope one day that I could actually do that. So fast forward 4 years later, 1993, and I'm on the plane with Merv. I said, Merv, what's an Ashes series like? And he said, oh, mate, it's the best. There's no air travel, so you travel around on the bus. We're sponsored by a brewery. There's still rest days in Test cricket, and the Poms are shit. So it's a fantastic tour for 6 months. I said, okay, sounds pretty good to me. So get to the first Test match. I've been belted all around the park previously. We played a warm-up game, and Graham Hick, who was a good player for England, he made 200. And before that game, Alan Border said to me, he said, look, don't show this guy anything bar leg breaks. Just bowl leg breaks. Don't bowl wrong-uns and flippers and sliders and any of that stuff, just plain leg breaks. I said, oh, should be good enough for him anyway. Well, as I said, he went on and made 200, hit me for 13 sixes. So driving back up to Manchester for the first Test was a bit like, geez, okay, I've got to fire up here. Let's start. So I was sort of a little bit tentative, but also excited, nervous. All those different emotions about playing your first Test, your first Ashes Test, just being belted as well. But I was still pretty confident. So when it got my time to bowl, I bowled to Mike Gatting, who was the best player of spin, one of the best players of spin in the world, not just for England, and Graham Gooch, one of the best player England's ever produced. And they're standing there just sort of staring at me, and I'm at the top of my mark, and I'm thinking, okay, this is it. I just thought, right, just rip this leg break, just spin it as far as you can. Don't worry about where it goes. Just spin it as far as you can and send a message to Graham Hick, who's up there, and the rest of his teammates. Just rip it. And so I remember coming in, and it just came, when you try and rip something like that, it comes out of the hand. You know it's going to be good. You don't know what's going to happen down the other end. It might spin too far and miss the bat. They might play a great shot. They might edge it past slip. Anything could happen. They might try and smash it, goes up the inside and drops it. You don't know what's going to happen, but all I knew when it left my hand, that it was a good ball. And I knew straight away. Then it sort of happened in slow motion. I remember Gat sort of following the drift, and then it sort of just stopped and spun past his bat and just bit the outside edge and then just clipped the top of off stump. And it was one of those moments where you go, yes, I was so happy that I took a wicket. But to do it with your first ball was a fluke. It was a fluke. I never did it again, ever. I played for 23 years of cricket. I never did it again. So you can look at it as I suppose, as a leg spinner looking at it, I go, it's the perfect leg break. It's what you dream about as a leg spinner, to bowl that all the time. It just shows you it doesn't happen all the time. It's not easy to do. And that series was the first ever series of big screens at the cricket matches. We had the Citron screens around the ground. So obviously we all looked up at the wicket, at the screens, because they never used to be there when we started. obviously playing at the MCG or something, though they had the big ones there, but when you toured, there wasn't the screens around. And we all sort of looked at it and went, ooh, that was pretty good. Then as we sort of went to, back in the dressing room, and then the replays, they're just replaying. Then at night time, you're watching TV and it'll just flash on, and it was like, Jesus, that's bloody good. And then as it's gone on, everyone said it's the best ball that's ever bowled. It's the ball of the century. I'll take it. It was, so to do it first ball, I was very, very proud of being able to do it first ball. And to one of the best players of spin in the world, and it was England, and it was the Ashes, and it was my first ever ball in the Ashes. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. I think Richie Benaud enhanced the delivery, and that's what everyone's meant to do as commentators. You're meant to enhance the experience of the viewer watching, and Richie did it better than anyone.